Greetings, YouTube, and it's time for another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck video. This time I have something very special for you all. This is my Yosenju deck. For those of you watching from the Kind of Funny group, this is indeed the deck that won our little tournament that we had. This is the deck and all its wonderful secrets. And I'm going to do a quick video, show you what my cards are that I have in here, why I have what cards in what order of what number they are, and we're going to go through and we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to have some tips for you to help you out, and we're going to leave some comments in the lovely comment section below, and it's going to be fantastic. So let's get started. And we're going to start with the spells like we always do, because for some reason this game puts the spells at the top and not the monsters, but that's okay because we don't judge. Spell section. Let's talk about these spells, shall we? I have 2 Dark Holes, and I have 1 Raigeki. Now, the reason that I do this is because we're only limited to 2 Dark Holes, and we are limited to 1 Raigeki. Well, I should say that as Raigeki is now legal. It's been legalized after its gigantic hiatus of many years. But the thing is, since Yosenju's return to your hand at the end of your turn, Raigeki and Dark Hole basically do the same thing for this deck. And since you're returning cards to your opponent's hand, if you can wipe out all the monsters that are on the field and then just focus on their spell and trap card zone, you have less cards to take care of, and you could possibly return all the cards that they have on the field to their hand and then just get a clear shot. So that's why I use 2 Dark Holes. Some people don't use Dark Holes. I do. I like Dark Hole in this deck. But if you don't, that's not a problem. Fire Formation Tanky. Fire Formation Tanky is a must for this deck. You must have 3 because you're working with the beasts, beast warrior types. It lets you pick which one of the 3 Yosenjus you want for that specific time and situation you would like. Okay, drawing. Yeah, drawing cards. Pot of Duality, 3 Pots of Duality, and 3 Upstarts. These are basically the same reason as Fire Formation Tanky. You want 3 Fire Formations, 3 Pots of Dualities, and 3 Upstarts. And the reason why you want these is because if you notice, we have a 40 card. We have the 40 card minimum right here. So since we have these cards that let us search our decks and let us draw cards, that means it's much more easier to get 2, 3, or maybe even 4 Yosenjus in our hand at the very beginning of the duel, and we're not scrounging for supplies. So these are a yes please, I would like these cards in my deck. They are oh so thank you God, you got me out of a sticky situation. The one thing you need to remember though, this is very important, is that when you play Pot of Duality, you cannot special summon the turn that you played Pot of Duality. So if you have any plans on specially summoning on the turn that you play Pot of Duality, for example, Pendulum Summoning, because that's what this deck is, you probably should think twice about playing this card. That's the only thing. That's the only drawback. Sometimes you can't avoid it because of the 3 cards that it gives you, and then it's like, oh hey, new plan with these 3 cards. Alright, moving on from those. Seal of Orichalcos. Yes, I use Seal of Orichalcos in this deck. Is it a good card to put in this deck? Abso-freaking-lutely, it is a good card to put in this deck. Now, why is it a good card to put in this deck? Well, here's the thing with the Seal of Orichalcos. The Yosenjus are specifically designed at the attack points that they are for a reason. It's because that they're just below that 2,000 attack point range where you would need so many of them in order to OTK your player. But if you have that extra attack point boost, then they're all starting to peak around an average of 2,000 attack points. And if they're averaging around 2,000, then that means you only need like 4 Yosenjus out there in order to OTK your player. And even if it's not an OTK, even if you just like have 3 out there or 4 out there and you're just plowing through monsters, you still just seriously damage your opponent in one assault, and you might want to call it game at that point. How many times have I lost with the Seal of Orichalcos out there? I know so far it's against humans, it's been 0 times that I've lost after I've played the Seal of Orichalcos. I think it was one time in this game I lost against a computer after I played the Seal of Orichalcos, and I was quite impressed by that. But Seal of Orichalcos is, that's my recommendation. I highly recommend that you put the Seal of Orichalcos in your deck. And I forget the guy's name, who's, yeah. Boy, I really can't talk today. What is wrong with me? I forget the guy's name that this card is found in. It's a challenge duel, but I will flash his face on the screen because he's from Zexal, and I don't know everyone's name from Zexal. But his face should be on the screen right now, and you can see his lovely, ugly face. 2 Yosenju's Training Grounds. I'd only like to use 2, and here's why. 1, this is a very good card. This is an excellent card to have in your hand at the beginning of the game because it'll give you the option to pick another card from your deck. And usually when you get to pick another card, you want to pick that Yosenju secret move. But here's the thing, you don't want to overclutter yourself, because if you have 2 in your hand, it's like there really is no purpose for having 2 Yosenju's Training Ground on the field at the same time, because you can only activate, even if you have 2 and they're loaded with counters, you can only activate one of them once per turn. So all you're really doing is just taking up an extra zone on your side of the field. So I'd much rather have some other card in my hand than an extra Yosenju's Training Ground. Even if I have all the Yosenju's in my hand, rather just have something else. Alright, Vanity's Emptiness. Yes, Vanity. I have this card in my main deck, not my side deck, because this deck doesn't really special summon that much. And a lot of decks today do a lot of special summoning. And this card doesn't hang around for very long. So if you can stop them from special summoning, if you can mess up their plan a little bit, that is excellent. And this card does wonders against Necros. In fact, if you play this card against Necros on the very first turn, you might just win just by that. 3 Yosenju secret move. Of course we want 3 Yosenju secret move. This card negates anything, and that pisses a lot of people off. You have no idea. I giggle so much when I play this card. This negates anything. It's so beautiful. And if you have that search ability of playing through either Yosenju's Training Ground or Comma 3, you want to pick Secret Move because it'll give you that boost of defense. 3 comma 1s, 3 comma 2s, 3 comma 3s, and 2 Tatsus, and 1 Mask. Now, I have 3 copies of the Band of Armed Flying Squirrels. Yes, that is a good must. I only have 1 of all the single sacrifice cards of Yosenju's. I only keep 1 of them in this deck, because again, I think even if you have 2 of the Misk, how do you pronounce that? Misak? Yosenju Misak. Let's go with that. Alright, even if you have 2 of those in your deck, I think that's still a little bit more cluttered because 1 of them is just a fantastic defense. It's fantastic, and it pisses so many people off. And Yosenju Tetsu, I only like to use 2. Some people use 3. I rarely come across someone who uses 3, but some people do. I don't like to use more than 2 because he doesn't have the ability of put 1 more Yosenju's down. The 3 does have the ability of let's put 1 more Yosenju's on the field automatically. And they all have different abilities. When I'm just alone, I only have 1 Yosenju and I have a choice of who to pick. I like to pick Kama 2 because he can attack directly for 900. If I have more than 1, I like to pick Kama 3 and Kama 2 as a combo because then he can attack directly and then he can add another card to my hand. I don't like to have column 1 in my hand just on solo, because then he doesn't do anything. And then the pendulums. 3 Yosenju Diabec, 3 Yosenju Senju L, and 3 Yosenju Senju R. Now, Yosenju Senju L, it's important to remember that this card also defends against Mirror Force. It doesn't just stop them from destroying one monster, it'll stop them from destroying all of your monsters. So you can just place that in the zone, and that'll defend you, and that'll like stop you from worrying what that face down card is. And while you have one of these in your pendulum zone, just let it sit in your pendulum zone, and then you can play a secret move, because that'll count as your Yosenju. And not bad. Wow, I have a problem today. I'm so sorry. Yosenju Senju R. Keep in mind that if you have 2 of these, you can put 1 in each pendulum zone and then use his effect to change his level to his pendulum scale to 11, and then you have a pendulum scale of both 5 and 11, and then you can pendulum summon Diabec. So you actually you don't always need both of these in your hand. You can have just 2 Yosenju Senju R in order to play Mei Yosenju Diabec. And you can also, his pendulum scale is 7, so you could have Mei Yosenju Diabec and 1 Senju R and raise him to 11 and then pendulum summon Diabec. And that's it for the deck. Down to the extra deck. I'm still experimenting with this extra deck. I'm trying to figure this out. I don't have much. So far, I have 2 Gaga Cowboys, because when he's in defense, automatically deal 800, and that's really good for just finishing off your opponent. Plus, there's an OTK with this, because it's an extra 1600, and if they all assault, then that can be game. And I also have Super Dread Cannon. I have Cannon. I have a monster with a very excessively large name, and his name is Cannon. I have this card in my deck, and I have that because there's an OTK where you can summon 2 Mei Yosenju Diabecs, blow back 4 cards to their hand, then they're wide open, deal 6,000 damage, and then XYZ summon this level 10, and then detach 1 for 2,000 damage, and then that's game. And that's all I have in the extra deck. I'm still experimenting with that. Recommendations, leave them down in the comment section below, please. Side deck. Okay, side deck is very important in this. It's very important. I either built the side deck around to fight the Necros, or I built it to fight myself in mirror matches. I have 3 anti-spell fragments, 3 mistakes, and 1 Thunder King. The Thunder King. You beware the Thunder King. These cards are good against Necros. These are very good against Necros. You can place these face down, and your Necros player will just have a very bad day. They won't be able to play at all. And Thunder King, if you draw that on your first hand against Necros, they're done. They have nothing to do. Yeah, they can't search. What you gonna do against the Thunder King? And Mirror Force. I have Mirror Force in my side deck because if I'm playing against another Yosenju player, my spell cards won't do anything if they've all returned to their hand by the time it's my turn. So Mirror Force is very important for mirror matches. And that is my Yosenju deck. I hope that this video has been helpful to you all. Let me know what you thought of my Yosenju deck. Please leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Give a thumb up if this was helpful to you, if you plan on using this Yosenju deck. I will see you all in the future. If you enjoyed this Yu-Gi-Oh video, please let me know. And I will see you in the next one.